set up here. I am working on the 2025 block of the month. I need to get the setting for it cut out, so I thought I would do that and hang out with y'all. See if you had any questions while I get to work on this. I have all my tester notes, I have all my notes, and then I have my finishing instructions, which is what I need to work on tonight to get this all put together. So if you are watching this live, thanks for joining in. If you are watching this later, then just hang out, get some sewing, sew with me a little bit. I won't be sewing on this live. I'm just going to be doing my cutting of the 2025 block of the month, and giving myself a little caffeine for the energy to get this through to the next stage tonight. I've got my fabric back here that I already have starched and pressed. So I have to pull what I need from this. All right. This is for something else. So this fabric here is the solid fabric. If you joined in on my 2023 or 2024 block of the month, then there's something, stay. There's some things that you already know, which is that my block of the month is also a calendar, which is super fun. Here, I'll grab this year's block of the month calendars. So it's a calendar that's also block of the month, and every single month, oh, here we go, you get a pretty picture of the block, but then the instructions for how to make that block, and then an actual calendar that you can write on with some fun holidays. I pick only quilty and chocolate related holidays, and there's like some friend ones, but only things that relate to people who quilt and who like chocolate. Those are the holidays that are on here. So this one has National Self-Care Day, National Handmade Day, No Housework Day, which was April 7th this year. So if you missed it, I feel like you should have a makeup day and go ahead and have a no housework day on another day. Safety pin day, National Hanging Out Day, because, you know, we get to quilt together. Pig in a Blanket Day, because, you know, it's a blanket. And National Zipper Day, because you should make some zipper pouches. They're fun and a lot smaller than quilts. So that is the calendar that I do every year. Well, so this year, 2024 is the second year. Next year, 2025 is year 3. And I always have to change things up. So I will be changing things up again in 2025. In that, okay, so there's the calendar with all the calendar dates. There's the block of the month portion. And then there's videos. So every single month on the first of the month, I post the video. Hey, yes, see where you're coming from. Okay. San Antonio, New Hampshire. Can we pick no housework day once a week? I feel like that's fair. I feel like, sure, go for it. Okay. So, but there's a video right here on YouTube where I show you how to make the block. And it was on one of these lives a couple months ago where I was talking about how I needed to be working on the block of the month calendar, and I hadn't done it yet, and I wanted a theme because 2 years ago it was the 4-patch block of the month, and then this year it was the 9-patch block of the month, and I didn't want to do like a 36 patch or a 16 patch or anything like that, so I needed like a new theme. And someone right here suggested half square triangle block of the month, and I thought that was genius. So like right then and there we decided, because this is how business decisions get made, right, that it was going to be the half square triangle block of the month, and it is. So 2025 is the half square triangle block of the month. Now, when I do the videos, I want the videos to be super easy for you to follow along. But also, because, and I won't be for beginners, but also just for like anybody doing it, that it's super easy. But also, I've been quilting over 30 years, and y'all, there are so many fun ways to make half square triangles, some of which I've tried, and some of which I haven't tried yet, that I want to try. So this year, and this is the way that I'm doing it different this year, is that I'm doing 2 videos every single month. On the first of the month, there is the regular video, which is the how to make this block according to the instructions in the calendar. And then on the second of the month is a bonus video that will make that exact same block, but using a different method every single month for making half square triangles. So through the course of the year, you can just follow the regular instructions and make the blocks. But if you want, you can either watch or follow along in learning a new technique or different technique for making half square triangles. By the end of the year in 2025, we'll have tried at least 12 different techniques for making half square triangles. and maybe some will be new to you as well. Hey, welcome Stitch Obsessed. One of my new friends. Love half square triangles, right? So I've been wanting to make videos on different ways to make half square triangles because it is one of the most versatile blocks that we use all the time in quilting. And there's so many cool techniques like different rulers. And you know, I love my rulers. So there's different rulers. There's different like ways to mark it. I've talked about the diagonal seam tape. Diagonal seam tape is not on the list because I've talked about it before. But diagonal seam tape, what else is there? Oh, triangle paper. Trying out different kinds of triangle paper. So we're the 7/8 ruler. Like there are so many cool techniques, and I have my whole list of 12. I might have to do more than 12 because I'm me and extra. Oh, Angie, there are. I had to like narrow it down to 12. Here, oh, hold on. All right, as long as we're doing sneak peeks, I'll be right back. All right, I don't know. Some of these I added in here just in case I have time to do some extra videos. So not all of these will be in the 12. But like, I went and bought new ones. Like I've never tried Bonnie K. Hunter's Essential Triangle Tool. And I'm like, all right, well, let's try that one. I've got different kinds of triangle paper. This is an Eleanor Burns ruler. This is Deb Tucker's ruler. So like a lot of like, oh no, my OmniGrid ruler. I'm gonna have to buy another. You know what? I think I have this one bigger. Oh man, this ruler really. This one had a hard time. Oh wow. I will not be using this ruler. I don't know if you guys can tell. It's totally mangled in shipping. Oops. Oh, that's hilarious. I'll have to do something with a mangled ruler just because that's hilarious. Marty Michelle has a half square triangle ruler. I feel like maybe I'm the only like quilty notion inventor that doesn't have my own method for half square triangles, which is okay because there's so many. Like I don't know that we need another one. And then like these are the ones that like I some of these I already own. A couple of them I bought that are ones that are in here. Triangles on a roll, Thingles. What else is in here? The Cozy Quilts ruler. This is the strip tube ruler for making half square triangles. So, and see, I feel like, see, that's the OmniGrid. I have so many that I think I bought the same one a second time. So it's a good thing. I don't think I need this one. It did not survive shipping. That's funny. All right. Looks like the dog ate my ruler. Something ate my ruler, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna go put these back because I need to get to cutting. Hi, North Carolina. Yeah, I think it got damaged in shipping, and somehow I didn't notice when I unpacked the box and I stuck it on my table to make sure that I marked off on my list because I have a whole list of like which rulers are getting used on which months based on like the size of triangles. Because, for example, and because I'm diagonal seam tape is not one of them on there, but with diagonal seam tape, I couldn't do a big 6-inch finished half square triangle with diagonal seam tape on the small machine that I use for videos because it doesn't have enough of a runway to be able to have for a I don't even know that my big machine would be a big enough runway to use diagonal seam tape for a 6-inch finished half square triangle. So for that, for ones where there's big 6-inch finished half square triangles, I wanted to use different techniques. And I wanted to make sure that like if I got a ruler that like only went to 4 inches, that I put that on a month where we were doing a 4-inch half square triangle. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna put these back and then I'm gonna get to this fabric because this is the fabric we're using. Okay, as always, you can use whatever fabric you want for your block of the month. But I'll have kits available for people who want to use the fabric that I'm using. And since I'm making the quilt twice, once for the regular version and then once for the specialty version using the different half square triangle methods, they're actually all blue and white. I didn't go like crazy wild and do 2 different fabrics, although that would have been fun. And maybe if I'm crazy next year and do 2 quilts again, I'll do 2 different ones. But so I wanted them to not be too wildly different. So for the one that's different kinds of half square triangles, that one's all done in solids. And then for the ones that the main one, it is Art Gallery Fabrics Ink Perfect fabric. And this is, let's see, this is my sashing. And I don't know if you guys can hear that thumping. There's like a youth group that meets upstairs from me here in the office on Mondays. And I don't know if they're like tumbling or what. They're pretty loud. Hi, Michigan. Oh, 2 from Michigan. Look, we got all kinds of Michigan friends. Okay, if you haven't popped in where you're joining in from, pop in the comments. Let me know where you're joining in from. Okay, that's the sashing. And actually, while I cut this, I want to cut both at the same time. So this is the sashing for the main quilt, and the blocks for the second version of the quilt are being done with solids, but for like the sashing and borders, I decided to do prints. So this is the sashing for version 2 of the quilt. And then let's see, where's my border? Come on. Yes. These are my border, and the bolts are turned around, so I don't even know which is which anymore. That one says outer border. Okay, yeah, outer border. Okay. This one, which is actually a linen blend, so it feels really nice. This is the outer border for the main version, and then this one is the outer border for the solids version. And that's actually because the inverse of this, which is white with blue lines on it, is the background fabric for the main version. Okay, so let me put my border fabric out of the way, because I'm going to cut my sashings here while we're hanging out. Hello from Land O'Lakes, Florida. Oh, Brooke, I hope y'all stay safe. I know that so many areas were so hard hit by, I guess they call it tropical depression, but that does not feel like a scary enough name for the devastation this country has had recently. So, and then I know that there's another storm heading towards Florida right now. I just checked before hopping on live here because I have a friend who's working on evacuating, and it said something about like it coming in about 36 hours. So I've never been through that. I don't know all the steps that y'all have to take. I'm sure you guys know. I hope you stay safe. Please, please, please. I hope that the whole thing just loses all its steam before it makes land, and y'all get little sprinkles, and that you evacuated and were safe, but you evacuated for nothing. That ended up being a big nothing burger. Yeah. Not even that it misses you, it misses everybody. Just it turns into like nothing. Brooke Betsy wants to know if y'all are evacuating. Backflip request from California. Hi California. I probably won't be doing that because I don't want to be broken. that would break me. Okay. Yes, lots and lots of good vibes. I know there's a whole country thinking about y'all. I'm hoping y'all stay safe. Yeah. All right, I need to grab my rotary cutter and ruler, and then we're gonna work on cutting these sashing pieces. Grab those. Ruler, rotary cutter. This is my new rotary cutter, by the way. Isn't she pretty? This is the new Olfa. It's got a floral design on it on both sides. Isn't that pretty? Can you show how your hair looks in a ponytail? It looks nice in this color. Sure. It's just, I know, I think she did it a little darker. I don't think we were planning on changing it. The last time I went, I think she was a little darker. So, but we are letting some grays grow in. So sometimes on video you see the top of my head and I have some grays for sure. That's okay. I earned every single one of those grays and then some. Yes. Hi, Cajun lady. I know, it's so scary. Here in California, I'm okay. So I don't need to evacuate. But yeah. Oh, thank you. Danielle says I look marvelous. Okay. I started cutting this from the wrong side. or prep this to cut from the wrong side. So I'm here in the back room of my office, which is also like the warehouse room in my office, which has the big cutting table, which is also the order packing table, the quilt trimming up table. It's the big table for all the things. Yeah. Brooke, I hope it misses everybody. I hope everybody's just totally safe, evacuated for nothing. That'd be the best case scenario. And then has nice, safe, clean, open roads for driving home. No debris that they have to drive through. Okay, let's see. I need 11 3.5-inch strips. Let's see if I can do this and not mess up while chatting. Might need to get that rotary cutter. It's so pretty, right? When I went to Missouri Star for the birthday bash, that wasn't. I don't know if y'all saw that video, but I picked it up at Missouri Star when I was there. All right, 11 3.5-inch strips. So I finished the blocks for this quilt. At the end here before I leave, I'll make sure that I show you. You guys get to see be the first to see the blocks for this quilt. And then on Friday, my special treat for getting it all done was getting to go to the beach, because with this blue and white theme, I thought, where should I take my photos? Well, I should take them at the beach, right? So I went to the beach right at sunset here in San Diego. And just like the last time I went to the beach to go see a sunset, it was cloudy, so I didn't get to see the sunset. There was no sunset. It was just clouds. And cloud cover is great for soft light for taking photos. So the block photos should all be amazing. And I will go back to the beach to take the finished quilt photo. So maybe I'll be lucky and I'll have a beautiful sunset for the finished quilt photo. Wouldn't that be nice? And that'll be on the cover. So just like this one. So I've got an alarm going off letting me know that it's 6 o'clock. So this was the finished quilt photo last year. And then all the different photos from last year. These were all taken at Balboa Park here in San Diego. That's the fountain outside the Science Museum. Oh, that's in the butterfly garden. And right there, I don't know if you can see it. I actually caught a butterfly in the photo. So, okay. Did I cut that one yet? No, I didn't. I don't know if y'all can hear that thumping from upstairs. That's hilarious. They're having a good time. I generally know not to film videos on Monday after school, between like after school and like 5 or 6 o'clock, because the kids are up there and they're having a good time. So that's okay. All right. I want these a little separate so that I know I need to cut 11 of these. So this is the 2025 block of the month calendar for those of y'all just joining in. I am doing the finishing up. So I thought while I was sitting here or standing here cutting out the pieces for the next step, I would hop on live and talk about the calendar. It's not available for sale yet, but make sure you subscribe. I should be a good YouTuber and tell people like 17 times, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. So make sure that you subscribe, because I will have a video when it goes live, which should be the first week in November. Like either the very end of October or the beginning of November is usually when the calendar goes live. And I've been working on it for months at this point. This and then the Advent calendar are the two big projects that just take months and months to work on. And then they both are huge amounts of work in October, which is right now. And then they're done. And that's fun. And then I get to start again for next year. I'm already dreaming up what I want to do for the Advent calendar for next year, because the Advent calendar, I start planning that in January. And then I start making, I cut I start making commitments on it in April. So it's a lot. When I said, I didn't cut myself. I just cut into the fabric with Scotch. So here, if you can see, I just cut into the fabric. So I'm going to have to trim off this 1/2 inch right here, clean up that edge. Yep. Love the colors of the fabric and the rotary cutter. Look forward to getting a calendar. Yes. So the last couple years, well, this is year 3. So the last 2 years, the blocks have all been solid color fabric, and the blocks are always 2 colors. So I don't know if you can see it here. Every single one on the block is a background, and the background is the same fabric throughout the whole thing. And then there are 4 foreground colors. So it's a background and then one of 4 colors on each one of the blocks. And so each of the colors is repeated 3 times in the quilt. So there's really simple blocks to cut. It's not like you're cutting 17 different fabrics. You're cutting 2 fabrics every month to make your blocks really easy. And then it all comes together with the sashing and the borders. And so in the past, the first year, the background was this really pretty like confetti dock fabric called Seed of Roses by Caterina Roccella. And I have bolts of it still here on purpose because it's one of my favorite fabrics ever. So it's called Seed of Roses, and that was the background. Ooh, actually, I have some of those calendars still left. So if you want, you can order past calendars because I ordered tons of them. So this was the very first year. It was super soft looking. And I don't know if you can see on that block that really pretty confetti dots. So that was the background with then pastel colors for the blocks. And then it was that same background color for the border as well. And then I don't know if you can tell really, but the sashing here is like a cream colored sashing. So that's what I went with year 1. And then last year I went with like really, really bold colors, just for something different and fun. And then this year I'm going back to like really soft, calm, neutral colors with the blues. All right, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I have 11 of them. Now I need to cut 8, 3.5 by 12. Some of these I have to sew together, so I'm not going to do that here. I'll have to do that after we pop off. And I did a pretty good job. That's all my extra fabric of the 2. I'm cutting the sashing for both quilts at the same time because why not? It's then 4 layers of fabric, which is easy enough. Okay, I need 8 3.5 by 12.5 inch strips. This is 24. I have to do these this way. 3, 6, 9. Okay. All right. Let me go back into the comments. Is it too late to order the advent calendar for this year? It is not. Pre-orders are closed, but orders are still open. I always make sure to order a bunch more that are pre-ordered. Pre-ordered gives me an idea of how many I want to make sure that I have in stock. So, and that sets the quantity. So pre-orders is wide open. And then once I do pre-orders, then I order how many. So once what is in there, once the stock that's in there is gone, it is gone. But there is. So you can absolutely still order advent calendar for this year. I can't, let's see, sorry. I haven't machine quilted in years. I've been working on hand quilted whole cloth. Ooh, that's gorgeous. This is my second one, queen size, and it took me 3 years to do the last one. I can imagine. Hand quilted whole cloth, that's incredible. And yes, that would take forever. Eileen says, I'm glad to know someone else who does that. Angie says, wow, I'm amazed by anyone who hand quilts. I'm still a fairly new quilter. Only been at it for 3 years and I'm scared. Don't be scared. Okay, don't be scared of anything in quilting because nobody was born knowing it, right? Everybody learned by doing. And there's a like little song that you don't want me to sing it, but it's like a little ditty that we'll try it. Sucking at something's the first step to being sort of good at something. But it basically, everybody's bad at it at first. And then you practice it and you get good at it. And some people are like less bad at first, but nobody is as good 100 hours in as they, like 0 hours in as they are 100 hours in. Everyone has to put in those first 100 hours or 1,000 hours or 10,000 hours or whatever. The more time you put in, the better you get. And the rate at which you get better is different for everybody. But you put in the time. And luckily, we do a thing where putting in the time of doing the thing is the fun part, right? Practicing, playing, getting to touch the fabric, it is the good part. So maybe start with like some smaller projects that don't feel as overwhelming, and also that don't feel as frustrating as you get better. Because when you pick up a big project that takes like a year to do, you will be better at the end of year one than you were at the beginning of year one. So all your stitches from January make you frustrated compared to what you're seeing in December, or even now like in October. So it gets you get mad at those parts and want to rip them out. I mean, I don't, but there's lots of people who do. So if you're one of those people, then do smaller projects that are completed faster. So that way you have your, first 3 months project and second 3 months projects and third 3 months. And that way you can really see your progress and not have a project that has 1 year progress plus 0 days progress all in the same quilt and looks a little, you can't see the whole, like how good you got in a year. I like to hand quilt my tops after they are sandwiched. It took me a long time and lots of practice and just figure out your own stitches. I still only do 8 stitches per inch. Pros do like 10 or 12. See, so there's something called big stitch quilting where they do, I don't know, like 4 stitches per inch, maybe even 3 stitches per inch because it's a big stitch. Everybody has their own like preferences and what works for them and what they like and what looks best. So maybe that's just your style. Maybe it's not wrong. Andy says, this is very true. I may just give it a try. Yeah, and try with small projects. Like a little mug rug, like a coaster, a placemat. And that way also you won't feel bad using it because it was just practice anyway. Alright, I'm going to cut these to 12 and a half. Let's see if I can not screw this up. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 and a half. And now I'm going to measure twice because I can only cut it once. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and a half. Anyone else count this way? Is this just me? Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and a half. Okay. That's 6, and I need 8 of these. Yes, so I need to reduce this by 2. My first quilts were terrible. You will find a groove, I'm sure. I'm sure I'm not that great, but I really enjoy it. I'm sure you are great, and that you enjoy it. I mean, there's love in every one of those stitches. And if you're having a good time, that's really all that matters anyway. Well, and, I mean, you're finishing a quilt, right? By the time you're done, you have a finished quilt that someone can enjoy. Does having 27 or, 12 stitches per inch, does having 12 stitches per inch make it warmer? Is it more filled with love? Will the recipient sit there and count the stitches per inch and appreciate it more if it has more stitches? No, it's still good. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and a half. Okay. All right, those are all my sashing. All right, the other ones I have to set aside because I have to sew them together before I can cut them apart. Oh, she says her mom was amazed when I gave her one for Christmas. Yeah, I bet she, like, if it took you, especially if it took you that long to make, that's precious. There aren't going to be that many in the world. because you can only make so many. One of my favorite things about quilting is the fact that we're constantly learning. Yes. There's always room for improvement in a new technique or block to try. There's so many techniques, so many different blocks, so many different ways to do things. Quilting is, and so many new fabrics to play with. Also, like, oh, I want to make that quilt again, but I want to make it in different colors. Like, so for me, generally, I don't make a quilt twice. There are very few quilts that I've made twice, just because I always like to try something new and different. But this quilt I am making twice, but it's because it is going to be so different making it the second time, because I'm going to be playing with different half square triangle techniques. That's just for quilt shows. I like the look of my, so, sorry, I've got a frog in my throat today. I'm actually a quilting judge for the San Diego County Fair. And I've never counted stitches per inch. I mean, maybe it's like if you're entering at Paducah or you're entering at Houston, like one of like the huge big name shows. Maybe then. But I think that your quilts would probably still be great in quilt shows. Yeah, my mom took a year to make a beautiful quilt with little dresses all over it by hand. I didn't understand at the time how she had the patience, but since I took up embroidery, I appreciate it. Yeah. And I was talking to my, I'm going to throw this away and grab my next fabric. I was talking to my kiddo about like big projects like this quilt that I'm working on right now. And the saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Just one bite at a time. Just, you know, one stitch at a time, one block at a time, one cut at a time. Sorry, I flapped the fabric and it created a breeze that took all those fabrics that I just nicely stacked up like 30 seconds ago all over the floor. It's fine. It's fine. Will I be at Road to California? I plan to be there, just walking around at this point. I haven't talked to any of the shops that are there to see if they want me to do demos. But at this point, I'm just going to be hanging out. I'm going to put these away before I go blowing things all over the place again. Making more of a mess of myself. So yes, I plan to be at Road to California. But not having a booth, just hanging out. Angie says, Stitch Obsessed, I've learned that when I started to sew, it was because I had to quit working due to disability and finally had the time. Oh, she says she's learned a lot from me. That's amazing. I love that. It's why I do what I do. To help more people learn how fun this is and get to do it. All right, I have to change this up. Okay, as long as we're hanging out here, I'm going to show you the magic technique. All right, we're going to put the fabric down. Okay, so I have two fabrics here on top of each other, but this one is the Art Gallery Fabric Linen Blend, and their linen blends are actually bigger, which is nice because you get more fabric. It's a little more expensive, but also it's linen, but you get more fabric. However, my ruler is not long enough for that. So I'm actually going to flip this over and I'm going to show you how, when you have fabric that is too big for your ruler or your mat, which like sometimes you're cutting a fat quarter, but on a really tiny mat, it still can also be too big, how we're going to manage that. All right. Look at that. I blew everything everywhere again, except not my fabric, because I moved it because I learned. Looks like you can teach an old dog new tricks. Okay. So I'm going to take this fabric up here from the top. What I did is there's the fold down here, and I make sure that the fold of both fabrics is right on a line of my mat. And all the lines on my mat are parallel. So I can fold this so that this fold lines up with a line that it makes this small enough that I can cut it with my ruler. And as long as I'm lining it up with this line, This line is parallel to the other line where the fold is, and I won't get any of those V's or notches in my fabric because I'm going to cut exactly perpendicular, which means like a perfect 90-degree L shape. And it should be just perfect to cut. All right. Make sure I didn't shift anything. Let's see. I've been using a Aunt Becky's quilting tool with a thimble. It's a learning curve, but it has elevated my quilting. I don't know Aunt Becky's quilting tool. I might have to look into that. And I entered a quilt in the, is that Oklahoma Fair? And it was basically kicked out because of stitch count. Though they did say I was at least consistent throughout the stitch spacing. I don't know. Some people and their nonsense kicked out. Those are some strict judges. I don't know what they had going on. All right, what size am I cutting these strips? 6.5. And I need 6 of them. This is going to be my outer border fabric. Alrighty. Okay. Alright, squared it out, or trimmed off the end. 2, 4, 6.5. Alright. We'll see how I did cutting this with no V's and notches. Alright. So here's that fabric. Here's how it was folded. Boom. Straight across both the top and the bottom. Straight across. And I didn't have to like move the ruler and try to shift and adjust with no like guidelines in the middle of the fabric. Perfect. Okay, I need to do 6 of these. Sounds like it was a quilt police day at the fair. I guess. I don't know. 2, 4. Sometimes also when we're reading those judges' notes, we don't know them, so we don't know the tone that it was written in, and so we get the tone in our own head, and I'm absolutely guilty of it. San Diego used to have a quilt show. This was pre-COVID. It hasn't come back since COVID, but they used to have a quilt show, and I entered in the quilt show, and for like an extra, I think it was like $5 or $10. I think it might have been $5. It wasn't a lot of money. You would get notes from the judges. And I was like, yeah, I want to know what the judges say, right? When I go to the guild and I show my quilts to the guild, everyone goes, oh, that's so pretty. But, you know, nobody says, hey, Caroline, here's what you could do better, right? So I want to know what I could do better because I want to get better. And the judges should know a thing or two, right? And they're looking really close at my quilt and they're critiquing it anyway. So tell me how I could improve. And the first note that I got, here's my recollection of it, is it said, your binding sucks. Did they actually say your binding sucks? No, of course they didn't. They didn't use that kind of language. But in my head, that's what I read. I read it that way. And it was probably like your binding could use some improvement, or, you know, you could take some classes on your binding. It was probably a much more constructive comment. But when you can't hear the tone, and when you're kind of hoping to win something as well, and I literally was asking for the feedback. I wanted to know how I could do better. And then I still got mad at the feedback. I mean, the next day I was able to come back to it with a clear head and feel better about it and read it again and say, oh, okay, it wasn't as mean as I thought it was. And guess what I did? I took a class on binding. I went to Craftsy, and there was a really good binding class on Craftsy. And I took the binding class, and I got better at binding. I'm going to enter this whole cloth when it's finished, but it'll probably be next year if I give it a few hours a day. Yeah. And also, like, that's a lot of work with your hands. Your hands probably get tired. And there's always other things that need to get done too. So a few hours a day, I think, is the way to do it. Sounds good. Sounds really nice and relaxing. Okay. So as long as we're talking about stuff that's coming up, I decided, well, I love going live with y'all. I love hanging out with y'all here. And all of my stuff for advent calendar gets done by the end of October. They start shipping out in November, and then everything except shipping them out is done. They all get shipped out starting like the first to maybe early the second week of November. They get shipped out, and I'm done with advent calendar. I've made both versions of the advent calendar quilt. The bigger one just needs to be bound, but they're done. The binding's already made. I just need to sew the binding on. So I don't have my advent to make in December. So I thought it'd be super fun to order a bunch of Quilty advent calendars and open all the different Quilty advent calendars live with y'all during December. Maybe you are also doing some advent calendars and want to open along with me. Maybe you're not and you just wonder what's in them because you've always been curious. So I went to go look and find Quilty advent calendars. I have mine and I have Jenny Doan's. And I couldn't find any other Quilty advent calendars. So if you know of any other Quilty advent calendars, please let me know. And I thought opening 2 advent calendars felt a little, I don't know. It didn't feel like much. It didn't feel like meaty enough. So I looked for other advent calendars. And remember how we said that the holidays in the calendar are all quilty or chocolate related holidays? So I found 2 gourmet chocolate advent calendars, which sounds amazing. So I ordered the 2 gourmet chocolate advent calendars. And because it's December, I got a tea advent calendar because I'm not a coffee drinker, but I got a tea advent calendar. So I have the 2 quilty advent calendars, 2 chocolate advent calendars, a tea advent calendar, and then I found one that's on woven labels. It's like a different woven labels every day. So then I also got the woven label advent calendar, but I think I can get one more Quilty advent calendar if there's another good Quilty advent calendar out there that y'all know about. And I thought that'd be fun to hop on, say good morning. December's so crazy. Just like start the morning with some friends, and then hop into the day, and then also that I get some advent joy because the advent calendar is one of my favorite things to do. And I love just the emails that I get and the comments that I get throughout December from people working on the advent calendar. It's just my favorite. So that already brings me lots of joy for sure, but I also want to open a little thing every day. So now I'm going to open like 5 things a day because that's fun. Okay. All right, where am I at? I need 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did I cut this one? 5. Okay, one more. 6. And then I think I'm going to show you the blocks. So if you want to hang out for just a second, I'm going to show you the blocks in no particular order because I don't have them in order right now. And then I'm going to run because I need to start sewing these together and cutting them into their bigger strips for the in-between sessions. Okay. Here we go. This is what's left on the, this is the border fabric. So sashing is the same as border 1, so this would be border 2. Let's put these out of the way. Here we go. All right, half a second. I'll be back. There's just another room. I'm going to grab them. All right. Put them just off screen. All right, you ready? I'll show you blocks before we head out because y'all have been hanging out. So these are the blocks for the 2025 half square triangle block of the month. And you'll see the background fabric that I picked and the 4 focus fabrics that I picked for this quilt. And all the fabrics are from the Ink Perfect line for our gallery fabrics. So here we go. Here's one of the blocks. Okay, this one I can tell you is the January block because we're going to start it off super simple and easy. This one has 2 different sizes of half square triangle. So some of them have a couple different sizes of half square triangle and some of them just have 1. This is also 2 different sizes of half square triangle. And they're different levels of complexity. So like this is a fairly simple 4 patch. But then this one It's only one size of half square triangle, but there's quite a few of them in there. And you can see that background fabric that I've picked is that really fun stitchy white with blue. Had to get my churn dash in there. Fun, simple block. And a classic block. This one's a little more modern, but fun. Almost looks like a tree. This one also has two different sizes of half square triangles. No, this is one size of half square triangle, but I added stitch and flip corners in this one, just to show a half square triangle-esque technique that's not half square triangles. Because I thought about it when I designed this, that I could like break this up, and that way these would be half square triangles, but that's so much more piecing just for the sake of them being half square triangles. Felt like a waste. So all of these are stitch and flip because I didn't want to create work just to create work. And then talked about stitch and flip, and then we still have our half square triangles up here in the corners. So this one's fun. And then a pinwheel and a pinwheel. Okay, this is one that I definitely, the technique for this month is triangle paper, because when you have to do a lot of smaller triangles, triangle paper is the way to go. So we'll be talking about triangle paper the month that this one is our block. 2 left to go, just in case you weren't counting. And these are not in order. They all got mixed up when I took them to the beach to take their glamour shots. All right, last one, and this is another simple one because we like having a couple of simple ones in there. This one is just a 4-patch of half square triangles. There we go. So those are all the blocks for the half square triangle block of the month. This hasn't launched yet. You can't find it anywhere, so please don't ask yet. It will launch the first week of November. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, because there will be a video where I will show this version of the quilt, and I will show the solids version of the quilt, and talk more about the different half square triangle techniques that I'm going to be sharing all of 2025. 2025 is going to be good. This is the time of year where I'm like making plans and figuring out what next year is going to be about. I have an idea for the advent calendar for next year, so I'll be working on that. We have this 2025 block of the month with 2 videos every single month. I have another series that I want to start. I haven't gotten the final like things that I need. It should come in later this month to make sure that it's doable. But I have a huge quilt project for next year. I have a book coming out next year, which we haven't talked about here yet, but we will. Upcoming live, we'll talk about the book. But I have a book coming out next year. Every single quilt for that book, and it's over 12 quilts, so over a dozen quilts for that book. Those are all due by the end of the year. So it's already 2nd week of October. So I have 2.5 months to finish these quilts. One is completely done. Can you see? You can't see the actual quilt, but that quilt hanging right there, that's the one that's completely done. It's just the backing on there, and it's backed and bound. It needs a label, but other than that, it's done. 4 more of the quilts are made and quilted, and then 1 has been cut but not pieced or quilted yet. Actually, I need to finish a little bit of cutting. I made a mistake on the cutting that I need to fix. But then that one can be pieced and quilted and bound. But the block of the month needs to happen first because I need to get these block of the months to the printer. So I'm going to finish this up tonight. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Angie, I'm glad you like seeing them. Okay, so hopefully you're excited for some things in 2025. I definitely am. I have some more patterns that I'm hoping to still launch here in 2024. If not, they'll just get pushed into 2025. That's okay. But yeah, October is busy. October is very, very busy, but I'm excited. All right, friends. Well, thanks for hanging out. I need to be a good YouTuber and remind you, subscribe, please. Still trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I'm at over 71,000 last time I checked, I think. So we're getting there. There's progress. If you wouldn't mind sharing my channel with some friends, you know, when people ask, what's your favorite YouTube channel? Feel free to put my channel in there and say that people should subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Hitting 100,000 subscribers as a YouTube channel is a really, really big deal. So yeah, Quilting actually just recently hit 100,000 subscribers. So that is an amazing accomplishment for them. Huge congrats, guys. And then Missouri Star Quilt Company they're closing in on 1 million subscribers, which is like mind-boggling, but 100,000. Also, the really cool thing about 100,000 subscribers is that YouTube sends you a plaque. It's called a play button, but it's a big silver plaque that has your name on it, or well, your channel name. But my channel name is my name, so it's a big silver plaque that has my name on it. And as someone who works for myself, by myself, no one gets me a plaque. Like no one. I'm employee of the month every month, and no months ever. So getting that from YouTube would be a really big deal. And a lot of validation for the work. So please, yes. And then, yes, Brooke, I hope you're safe. All our friends in Florida and in the Gulf and up the coast, I hope you all stay safe with the storm ahead. It looked like there was like about another day before it makes landfall, but we will all be thinking of you, and you'll be in our thoughts and prayers, and hoping that storm peters out to like just sprinkles and mist and nothing. That those winds are just barely gusts, and that your houses and your stuff and you, most importantly, stay safe. Yes, you have time to dig out your machine and get her all tuned up before next year when we're going to have lots of fun. Well, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. It was so fun chatting with you and getting some progress on this quilt. I'm going to finish getting the sashing and borders cut and prepped, and then I need to put myself together a little bit and hop on to film the finishing video for this quilt so that I can then long armor and get her photographed for the cover of the calendar for next year. All right, friends. Whew, that's a lot. Thanks for hanging out. Bye, friends.